11. Less than 2 minutes later, they are walking up near the courthouse, a pretty big sign in a bush patch outside the door showing Jefferson County District offices, and they walk around the building looking for all entrances. They found 3, one at the front, the back, and one on the west side. Zook checks his watch, and it has been nearly 15 minutes since they parked. He hears a voice right next to him, and it isn't Bud's, looking over his shoulder.
Hey Zook, what are you looking at?
Zook jumps to the side, and Bud pulls his gun and fixes it an inch away from Mick's head.
Damn Mick, why do you guys insist on surprising people? We could have shot you.
Bud puts his gun back in his holster.
Ha, did someone mess with you earlier? I heard a gunshot, and no one else is around for tonight.
Yeah, some idiot shot me, but I'll be fine. You going to get us in? We have to get going.
Yeah, oh cool, you guys brought masks. That will be good for the cameras.
He walks toward the door. Kneels down at the doorknob.
Yo, you want one as well? We have an extra. Wouldn't want you to get into something.
Mick puts his finger to his chin in contemplation.
You know, that would be a good idea. Maybe I should, for the cameras.
Yeah, you just said that.
Bud says, looking at the strange man, who certainly looked like a gloomy goth man in his 20s. He hands one over before he continues, and the man puts it on. Mick kneels at the side door entrance of the courthouse and begins to pick the lock. After about 10 seconds of Zook and Bud looking around nervously, the click is heard and the door slowly swings open. Well, they are once again breaking federal law. Hopefully, they won't get into anything nasty. The small-town county courthouse is quiet, and has a couple of floors of marked doors and offices. They find the Register of Wills, the Clerk of Orphans' office, the tax collector, the housing authority, and even a small county law library. They take a few turns, and Mick shows them the assessor's record office, the one they are searching for, to try to find property records, and legal records of locations. They try the door and it is open. They walk in and Bud turns on a flashlight because he cannot see as easily as the other two. As he scans the room from right to left, there are filing cabinets, sections of boxes on shelves, a desk right next to the door with a phone and a few stacks of folders. There seems to be a couch as well, and someone on that couch. Even though they are silent, the light catches a woman sleeping on an old couch. The couch is many years old with cracks in the fabric, and looks like it is in the area of a sort of waiting space. On the coffee table, there is a bottle of liquor with a wine glass next to it and tissues. She has messed up hair, and she snores with a short honk, sounding like a goose, and her head shakes from the flashlight as she is startled awake. Other than her hair, she seems easy on the eyes to the criminals, each of them looking her up and down on the couch, as she is waking up. She scrambles around with her arms trying to reach for something on a table next to the couch.
Shh, do not worry, we won't hurt you.
His influence over her is obvious. His use of the blood power to manipulate humans could rarely be defended against with his practiced use, and in front of him is a woman, just waking up. He certainly hoped she is a plain underpaid, underappreciated government worker. Using his ability to check the woman as what she might be, someone special such as himself, and other criminals, or something else, a creature such as the wolves, but from what he could tell, she is a plain Jane woman.
Don't scream. Your name, please.
Zook asks, smiling, showing her that they had little intention of harming her, even though it certainly might not be the case.
I'm Jane.
Zook's smile widens as he chuckles a little.
What are you all doing here? There is no money.
She seems cautious of the 3 men in the room, who are dressed like they are certainly here to rob the place.
We know, Jane, we aren't here for money, but we are here for something important, so it would be much appreciated if you could help us. If things work out well, we'll be out of here very soon. You wouldn't even remember we were here. What is going on here? Why are you sleeping on the couch?
She goes into a short story about her week.
My piece of junk husband dumped me for his lawyer, and I'm lying to my boss about not sleeping here. Drinking the whiskey in a wine glass makes me feel classy. What are you guys doing here? There are better places for anyone to be tonight.
You should cooperate. We are here searching for blueprints. There is a dangerous place we need to get into, and there are very mean men behind the doors. It is also a complex, and we were hoping that there might be records of them. It is an old military complex a couple of hours away but still in the county. It would be great if you could help. I can let you know the area, and you can help us look. Do you have any sort of ways to keep track of locations and where the places are?
Zukail's on the happy vibes from his blood power to manipulate her, the three men in ski masks, the late at night trip. It certainly is out of the ordinary.
Could you guys take off the masks first? They are creeping me out.
She asks, hoping to get a tiny bit of strength between them.
Oh, Jane, you know we can't do that, but you feel comfortable around them though. It is like you are part of a heist, and we are just friends practicing.
One of the sides of her mouth moves up a bit.
Okay, let me go into the bathroom and fix my hair.
She says, standing up, and wobbles back down on the couch.
Oh, I might have had a bit too much to drink.
She says, looking back at the almost empty bottle and wine glass. Zook holds her back a bit.
Your hair is fine, none of us care, we just really need to find something.
She grabs his arm lightly and pulls it away. She clarifies.
I do not need to fix my hair, I passed out drinking a bit ago, I need to hit the bathroom.
She replies, standing up to start walking to an area near the filing cabinets labeled, Employees Only. She goes to open the door, and Bud walks up to hold her back.
I want to check it, just to make sure.
She looks at him strangely, and she waves him in ahead of her, and she waits back with Zook. Zook spins her to look at him.
Now Jane, you were not going to try to run, were you? Is there a window in there where you are going to try to jump out and leave? I told you, we are not going to hurt you, we are old friends. Just use the bathroom, take a couple of minutes to brush your hair if you want to, but come back out and help us look for what we need.
His influence again, is palpable, since she's human from what any of them could tell, and she nodded, letting him know that even if she used to have the intention to try to run, she no longer could. Bud checks the bathroom, and sees a window that is opened. He closes and locks it, and checks the room for more, not finding weapons or anything else.
It's clean.
He says, walking out, and she opens the door wider, closes it, and locks it. Bud looks back, asking his boss if he is sure. Zook reassures him with a nod that they should be good.
I told her to come out in a couple of minutes after the bathroom, and she'll be out.
Mick walks to the other side of the room, through a partitioned area to sets and rows of filing cabinets.
Unless the aura manipulation going on with her does some kind of protection for her.
He calmly says, walking back. Zook follows him.
Manipulation, what do you mean?
What, you couldn't tell? I could easily tell, I thought you could. Her aura is too well balanced for what is happening with her, too human, too basic. Something is going on with her, but I'm pretty sure she is human, at least mostly. Her mind and aura have been messed with though, I don't think by us, someone different, but it should be fine. It looks like your manipulation held while I watched.
The bathroom toilet flushes and the sink gets turned on. Zook turns on his ability to listen with heightened hearing. He hears in a whisper.
Dear Penthouse Forum, I got dumped by my husband, got drunk one night after work, and 3 men were in my office after I passed out on the couch.
He turned off his ability to hear intently and walks to the back of the room of the partitioned filing cabinets. After a few more minutes, Jane walks out with her hair pulled back in a bun, and her clothes fixed after being asleep on a couch. She asks loudly.
So men, how are we going to do this?
Sorry to say, Jane, there won't be any of that. We have work to do, perhaps if you find us these plans, we can. Sorry to say, Jane, there won't be any of that fun, we have work to do, perhaps if you find us these plans, we can.
Bud asks, in a sort of requesting tone, what he means. Zook looks over at him and shrugs. Bud is looking at Jane and blushing, she looks back and returns the silent gesture. Zook looks over at the still likely drunk woman asking for some playtime and checks her aura again for something different like what Mick is speaking about, but he could only see that she is human, and lust.
Plans first. Then, maybe. Dear Penthouse Forum.
The woman blushes heavily, and Bud smiles wide, looking down at some miscellaneous folders. Zook explains what they are looking for, a floor plan, map, or any sort of blueprint for a bunker, military, or otherwise, near the location of the general store. He gives the location. They check a county map, sectioned off hanging on a wall, see it is within section F6, and go over to a set of cabinets, and start looking. The two mostly humans, Bud and Jane, seem to be spending a few extra minutes whispering to each other away from the cabinets. She is caressing his arms, an obvious interest in him, and Bud shows the same interest in her. Zook has to glare at them to keep them moving. After a couple of times of snapping his fingers without effect, he catches them close together, and he calls out.
Hey, drop it, if I have to come to break you two up, I will.
He is actually serious, he would do that, follow the plan first.
He winks at her and they separate. With Jane's help, they made a record time searching through the cabinets, skipping sections here and there, to look in on a section that is marked confidential. Jane is hesitant at pulling out the section, but Zook is not, and he pulls out the section for which they were looking. They pull some plans of the location. There is indeed a set of bunker plans they pull, and it is pretty big, and deep within the ground, a perfect place to secretly hide an arsenal. Zook and Mick pull out cell phones and take pictures. In the meantime, Jane has moved closer to Bud. She tells them.
You can take them, what do I care, some old plans no one will care about or miss.
She says, biting her lip while looking at Bud, her eyes flowing up and down his body. Zook looks over at Mick.
Hey, did you drive? Where is your car? Of course it is, we can't use that one tonight, cameras might have caught it, and we can't take the risk. Will you come with me to my car?
Mick smiles back at the two mostly humans looking at each other blushing, noticing the obvious as much as Zook.
Sure, we can take your car.
Zook holds out his hand. The keys to his town car are dropped in them.
Get a cab, or get picked up in the morning.
Jane walks up still partially wobbling on her feet, and looks up at the much larger man, and pulls him closer to her. Zook notes.
Mick, that is our cue, let's let them have some fun.
And the two vampires leave the humans alone to do whatever it is that they want to do to each other. They walk to Zook's car, and both of them get into the front seat. Zook starts the car, then pushes a button under the middle part of the dashboard, and hears the expected clunk of the traps behind him. Mikola looks in the back of the seat.
Interesting idea, that is supposed to help against powers like mine, ability to hide, right? Not bad.
He looks over at Zook and nods, who drives back to the dance studio. Mick looks back to the back of the car for a couple of seconds.
Hey, what if someone sits in the middle?
Yeah. There isn't enough room in the middle for someone to sit, even if they knew what might happen.
No, there isn't. I could easily fit in the middle there if I knew what is coming. Here is what you should do, do something like. Have it spray some water in the middle, your pants might get wet, but it will affect someone else.
Zook's mouth forms into a straight line in frustration.
You mean, I could put my feet up against someone and it wouldn't affect them?
You must not know how it really works. Without realizing it, you can put your foot up against someone else's junk and if they don't move, you don't realize what is happening. Do something in the middle if you want to keep someone unable to hide in here, or under the front seat, like at my feet here.
Mick moves his feet around.
Plenty of legroom here. If you don't want to use water, try something else. I've just gotten used to some people trying to mess around with me. You have no idea how frustrating it might be to those who want to play pranks.
Zook feels a low growl at the base of his throat, and continues to drive to the studio.
Yes, I think I can.
They get there, and grab the folders pertaining to their needed plans. Passing up the lobby, they go into the studio room, where Zant and the record keeper, Rachel, are still checking pictures, and looking at emails.
We found some blueprints, let's take a look.
Zook pulls the folder from under his arm, and opens their find. Looking through the blueprints, they think they see some things that will hopefully help them in the fight.